All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Naming in an AI Age. How do you think the name game has changed these days? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So there are three areas that I wanted to cover today. And let me start with the first area, which I think is something that a lot of us have been talking about and thinking about, which is video. So one of the things that we have conversations with the clients about is engage your target. But with video, whether it's a Super Bowl ad or a short on Facebook or a reel, often the video creates the engagement. Not only do they have to be memorable, you have to be able to spell them, right? And say them. And sometimes on the video they're pronounced, but then when you go to try to search them, you misspell it, right? So one name is Adobe, Adobe, but it's not pronounced Adobe, it's pronounced Adobe. But let's take another name, Hyundai, Hyundai. Okay, I challenge you, if you've never seen Hyundai spelled out, if you would spell Hyundai the way it sounds and the way you might hear it on a video. So video is becoming more important, and we certainly think spellability of the name as well as pronounceability of the name is going to be even more important than it has been in the past.
My daughter's 4 and we're trying to teach her very little of letter recognition and what sounds make. And sometimes it's not intuitive, especially with the English language. And we borrow so many names. If you think of Adobe from a Native American standpoint versus the English standpoint and how we pronounce things, it's very different. What about and the next thing that you think it's changing with?
Well, another thing besides video, I think, is just the clutter in the digital world, right? So you think about how much noise is out there. It's so easy to scroll through on TikTok, right? Or click through on YouTube Shorts. So this idea that it's got to be quick, it's got to be engaging, it's got to be interesting, are all things that put a lot more pressure on the name. And it has to be relevant. An agency came to us and they were in the website creation business, and their old name was Web Inertia. Now, that was a little bit dated. The new name we gave them that they're using now is Clear Digital. So you've got Web Inertia or Clear Digital. So Clear Digital says a lot more about, hey, we're about adding clarity. We're in the digital space. We're about building websites and even a digital strategy for you. So Clear Digital has a more modern vibe. It's easier to say and spell than Web Inertia. Another example in a totally different category is a very large retailer came to us, and they had a dog food on the shelf they've been doing well for decades, Ol' Roy. And the problem with Ol' Roy, though, is it didn't convey anything about why was this dog food better than all the other dog foods. And they wanted to come out with a premium line that really resonated with millennials and spoke to the quality of the ingredients, that there wasn't all this filler and all this other garbage that's often in dog food. Well, the name we came up with was Pure Balance. So pure has to do with how clean the dog food is. So Pure Balance conveyed a lot more about the value prop than Ol' Roy did.
Are there any other aspects you think that play into how naming is changing?
So 10 years ago, marketing was still mostly outbound driven. That is, you would advertise, you would push messages out in front of the face of your consumer, your customer. Of course, that doesn't work anymore in most cases. So now it's much more about inbound, right? That you're pulling them in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you do that? Well, you pull them in with content that's insightful. Well, the same's true of a name. The name needs to convey something that's important or compelling or engaging, as opposed to something that's more generic or descriptive. So for instance, in the credit card space, we had a credit union come to us, a very large one, and they wanted a business card for small businesses. Well, the name we gave them was just 5 letters, GOBIZ, GoBiz. This card is going to help you grow faster. It's active, it's moving forward. So that sense of motion and movement is a much more engaging, compelling message to include in a name. And then in a totally different category that we've worked in, flooring, you could have a name like Premium Laminate Flooring versus a name that really does convey that this is a premium flooring, like Timbercraft. It speaks to, hey, there's some real attention to detail here, right? That this is a a flooring that's going to look amazing. It was crafted by folks that really paid attention to the details, how that flooring was going to look. So just to recap for today, there are 3 things that are going on, in particular, the fascination with video. The second thing is all the digital clutter, all the noise that a name now has to cut through for you. And then the last thing is just content and authenticity, and something that's different and unique and concise and resonates versus something that's descriptive and generic.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think you hit the nail on the head with saying like authenticity in the content. You can't just have good content. I mean, being authentic about the content you're providing, as well as making it evocative or something that does cut through that digital clutter, is something that is finding the balance, the pure balance between all of that.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week as we talk more.
See ya.
Bye.